What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Living Electric. We're coming to you live from Ohio right now, where there's a huge storm rolling through. So if we lose power or Brandon flies off the screen at any point, then you know what happened.
Yes, it could happen.
Right. But we're surviving right now though, because there's I think it's just drizzling at my house. I think it's the same at yours too, right? So
yeah. It is. Yeah, I was so prepared for today's storm because as I was telling Alex before we were starting, I was just like, it's going to be bad. There's going to be hail, tornadoes, all the stuff. So I literally charged 6 power banks.
Yep.
Just in case. You know, just in case if I was on, my phone too much and I needed to keep it charged.
Right.
But yeah, I even sent that Snapchat I sent you to 12 different people and it was like a drizzle.
Yeah.
So
typical Midwest, just overreacting and doomsday prepping for a little drizzle.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, as I always say, it pays to be paranoid.
That's right.
That's
right. Yeah. The most I did was just change I usually have my charge limit set at 80% for home charging, and I bumped it up to 90% because I'm worst case, we can charge stuff in the car. So that's my battery bank. I don't think I texted you that, but that's usually my backup plan if we lose power, is just use my car. So,
well, you're smarter than us. We didn't charge either of our cars. So, yeah, I think the Model 3's at 56, and I think the Mini might be at 100. I'm not honestly sure. So
sure, it'll be fine.
But at least I can charge my phone.
Yeah. I think if you plug up enough battery banks to the car, I think it'll charge a little bit. So you can get maybe a couple miles out of those, right?
I was going to say, I wonder how long that would take to charge it.
It's trickle charging to a whole nother level.
Yeah, exactly. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so I didn't share a ton with you because I wanted to save it for the show, but I went to my first charger opening event, which was pretty cool. I went to a local Get-Go station, which is the kind of gas station or convenience store that is owned by Giant Eagle. So most at least in the Midwest, I don't know, I'd assume it's like this other places too, where you have your grocery store usually has a gas station out front. But Giant Eagle seems to be leaning in towards having that as a whole branch of their business versus just an add-on. So there's Meijer and some others, and Kroger are kind of the big ones around us, but they generally just have regular gas stations. Mm-hmm. Giant Eagle's definitely leaning more into a full-blown convenience store, which is really nice. Yeah. And a part of that is adding EV charging to the mix, which is really exciting. So we've already seen this, with some other, we saw 7-Eleven announce they're going to be having EV charging, Subway, some of these other kind of fast casual places are adding EV charging, and Get-Go is now in the mix with that as well, which is exciting. So I actually worked on the project that I went to last night at my previous role, and helped them, select some stuff for the site and talk through kind of economics of things, which was really exciting, kind of seeing it all come together. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. That's awesome. That must have been a good feeling to see your project go to fruition, and then people are using it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool seeing it. And then I don't know how to say this a nice way, but the cynic in me is I just need to do better on the next one, because there was already some things where I'm this could have been a little bit better specking it this way or doing it this way, and I'm if I were to do this site again today, I probably would have chosen something different. The problem with that though is timelines are so long with some of these projects, right? Where it's you choose something right now, it might be 18 months before you get it in the ground and something new is out. So it's very tough right now to really dial into a specific piece of equipment or site design or any of that stuff, because it's just so fast moving.
Yeah.
So
I think honestly we should do, because this is actually a thought that popped in my head, we should do a full episode of taking each step of what it takes from planning a site to the site going live.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool to talk about, as that's something I'm very curious about.
Right. Yeah, I know we've talked about kind of the electrical side of things, but I think just the general project side, business side would be interesting, because I know I see it kind of at the beginning and you see it at the end almost with your job, right? As it's getting listed on a map as kind of the last step. So there's a lot in between there that has to happen and go right for for these projects to get completed. But yeah, that's a good idea. Let's add that to the list.
Definitely. So I do have some questions for you with this site. So this is the first. So I've known GetGo is starting to put charging stations in at their locations. I think Tesla has a planned supercharger in Columbus at a GetGo. But
yeah, they've done kind of deals like that in the past where they've had like EA stations at their sites, like EVgo, Tesla. They've done some of that before. This is the first one that is like fully branded as like kind of their network, if you will. So
got it. Okay.
It is. I didn't mention that it is supported by Shell Recharge, is the like network operator, if you will. So it'll say, Shell Recharge on the screen. It'll kind of look like that, but the station, the wrap, all the look to it is GetGo. So
got it. Okay. So you actually just answered my question. So that's the very first live GetGo station, right?
Right. Yeah. So
wow, that's awesome.
All I know so far is that they are planning more. I know there's going to be at least one more in Columbus, and I think they have a few that are going to open up in the Pittsburgh area. So
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So there's at least this first wave. There's going to be more than just this site, which is good to kind of see how it looks, what they can improve. Again, like, things move fast, so they may do things differently at another site, but this is at least kind of the first wave, and they're calling it GetGo Energy is kind of their new branding, along with EV charging. So
nice. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I hope to see some of those here in Cleveland.
Yeah,
just because there's a GetGo right by my parents' house, and it's right off of the highway. It'd be such a perfect location for charging station.
Right. And this location's great too. It's right off of 23 on the north side of Columbus. I take that route a ton going to the north side of Ohio, so I'm familiar with that route. And yeah, it's in a great spot. It's got the other part they kind of showed us is they had just kind of renovated the inside space as well. So they're adding more like actual food options. It's not just like stuff that's been sitting there on a warmer. Like, it's actually fresh made food, which is really nice. They're going to have a little seating area, like a place to, order some food, hang out for more than, just grabbing a Snickers bar and walking out. So that part will be nice.
That's great. Yeah, I think I saw your photo with the tater tots.
Yeah. They were
jealous.
Super kind at the whole event. It was really nice. So yeah, they made us some food that they serve in the store and stuff. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. So was the event put on by GetGo?
Yes.
Like in partnership with... Okay. Did Drive Electric Columbus partner with them? Is that how the event got put
They
together?
just asked us, we're with Drive Electric Columbus, we're a resource for EV charging networks, for EV drivers, for all that stuff. So they reached out to us initially to say, hey, can some of you be here at the event with some EVs, chat with our staff, talk about what you like, what you don't like, give some feedback, like all that stuff. So it was really just show our face and say that, we support more charging stations really. So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, I'm bummed I couldn't have made it down there because it really did look like a really cool event. I remember when I saw that station go live in Shell's data, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So what's the power level on those?
Those are 150 kilowatt stations. So they have green and blue connectors, CCS CHAdeMO. And is that a 6 150?
Yeah, that's a level 6.
So they they are the only downside. One of the things I would have changed, if I were to go back and do it differently, is they do have the lower amp cables. So they are going to be limited, for lower voltage cars is the only downside. But, you plug in a Kia EV6 or Ioniq 5 and you're going to get faster charging speeds. So that's good.
Gotcha. Well, that's good to know. That's cool.
Yep.
Well, congrats on the success with that project. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's good to see it go in the ground finally.
Definitely. Did you autograph it?
No, I didn't want to vandalize the station immediately after it went in. So,
well, I think you should have, done some autographs there.
Right.
That's cool. Well, I'm excited to talk about the whole process when it comes to getting charging stations installed. I know so many people are interested in that.
Right.
So
there is way more that goes into it if you're not, if you're just, somebody that doesn't work in construction or doesn't work in engineering, there's a lot more that goes into it than you probably think. This isn't just, picking a spot and saying, oh yeah, let's put a charger there. There's so many approvals and designs and revisions and budgets and, accounting. Like,
I'm sure.
Literally
yeah.
every single organization gets involved when there's a project like this. So it can take a lot of time and effort.
Well, I'll save my questions for that episode, but I do have one question for you. Is it more intensive when you're talking DC fast charging versus level 2, or is it kind of similar?
100%. Yeah. DC is way harder to implement. The short answer is it's more power, so usually you have to get the utility involved. So
got it.
That's the short answer. I'll save a longer response if we do a full episode. But yeah, more power is always more difficult to add or put on a site.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's a little teaser for that episode, so stay tuned.
Right.
Well, I'm excited to talk about some vehicles because there's been a lot of announcements recently.
Yeah, we were off last week, so we were planning to cover some of these like the couple days after they came out, but we're a little behind here. But which one did you want to start with here?
I think, do you want to start with the Ford Project T3?
Yeah.
Is it T
let's do
cubed
that.
or T3?
It's T3, I believe. Yeah, because they did
What is T cubed?
a regular size T or 3, so it wasn't superscript.
Oh, sorry. I had to ask that. That's just such a dumb question. But so the Ford Project T3, they just announced that last week. It's their next electric pickup, right?
Right.
And that's going to be based at the... And I'm trying to remember... It's been a really crazy past 2 weeks for me, so I'm trying to remember the details on this. That's going to be built at their Tennessee factory, right?
I think so.
Big factory.
Yeah, they're building like a new big factory. I can't remember exactly where it is. I feel like I should know that. I tuned in, I think, like 15 minutes late to the event when they covered all the important stuff, basically. Yeah. So I missed some of the initial details. But yeah, this is going to be like Ford's newer truck. I guess it's going to be kind of a sequel, if you will, to the F-150 Lightning. So it's going to be, a new fully electric truck. We don't know a ton of information yet. There goes Bean. It just topped off my lap. We don't know a ton of information yet, but it's exciting that Ford is going to continue to make more investment in EVs. They clearly are seeing the success of the Lightning and the Mach-E, so I just hope it's I'd be curious to get your thoughts too. I hope it is a smaller truck is the only thing. Like, they keep saying it's going to be a full-size truck, and it's like, we need less of those.
Yeah, well, a full-size truck is on our list of cars to talk about today, and based on the battery size in that vehicle, I agree with you. Like, we need a smaller truck. Like, the Ford Maverick is a perfect size truck for so many people.
Right.
And like, I like, don't get me wrong, I like decent sized trucks. Like, anything bigger than an F-150 Lightning is too big. But I totally agree with you. If we could get something that can work on the majority of streets, that's safe for people to drive, that is not like a danger to society.
Yeah, and pedestrians.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's where I'm curious to know if they're going to, make it like the Maverick, because that would be perfect. I would buy one of those. I would love a small electric truck like that.
Yeah, all the teaser images made it look like it's kind of like more Ranger sized or like kind of smaller size. But even like the Ford Ranger now is a big truck. Like, it's not small.
No, not at all.
I don't know. Yeah, the more I've I started watching way more like urban planning and like I don't know, like city design YouTube stuff. I don't know if you watch any of that stuff occasionally. Like,
I would be fascinated with it though.
Yeah, well, it's the basic response from a lot of YouTubers that are kind of pro like pedestrians and just like people and like walkable cities is like, we need less vehicles and we need smaller vehicles in general, like just to be better for the environment and just better for humans overall. Is we need we need less of just to be such a car-based society. So, and I think it's just gone to the extreme with these giant vehicles. It's like, most people do not need all that.
That's where I really think that we could, and we've talked about this in the past, like with the Hummer battery, like how much material goes into that.
Yeah.
And maybe we could dive further into that just to explain that further. But I agree with you. I don't want to jump ahead on the list. I'm really anxious to talk about that new Ram because that battery size really bothers me. But at some point, it's almost bad for the environment to get a vehicle with a battery that big because you're just going to be
right.
wasting more materials.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all the emissions that you're saving over the lifetime of the vehicle probably don't equate to how much went into making that battery pack. So,
Right.
it's it's definitely a trade-off. I mean, you have to make vehicles in order to get, the target audience into, those vehicles. But at what extent,
Right. At what cost?
At what cost? But
Yeah.
yeah, I actually didn't see the teaser images. I'll be honest, for the T3, I didn't see
There
those.
weren't like teaser images per se, but they showed like just some stylized like the outline and like stuff like that, just like a single line. That's like it. But yeah, I don't know. Just at least that's what I'm picturing in my mind. Like my mind is filling in the gaps, thinking it's going to be slightly smaller, but we'll see.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, we need a small car.
Small.
SMLO.
Right.
Or no, God, that's SNOL. I've been struggling today. But speaking of, okay, so we'll start with the small, go to the medium, which is the Kia EV9,
Yep.
which was unveiled in the middle of March, and then they had another world premiere, and then they just unveiled it again at the New York Auto Show. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, we've seen a lot of it,
Right.
obviously from all these unveiling events. But I want to know your thoughts on it because I think you already know I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's a good looking vehicle. Like I'm impressed with it. I'm trying to think of some stuff they announced during the event. I think the biggest thing was we did get some range numbers, which was good. I believe they're targeting. I think in the high. Is it over 300? I think it's like 320 or something. They gave it in kilometers.
36. So. I think 336 miles, but obviously that's not EPA rated range, so it's probably going to be a little bit lower than that. But
so it'll be in the 300 range, right? Yeah, I need it in freedom units. So
yeah. Freedom units.
Have you heard that before?
No, I love that though.
How many football fields can this drive?
That's great.
Yeah, but I was excited to see the range there. Obviously, it's going to be on the eGMP platform, so it's going to have the fast charging, the 800 volt platform. So that's all good news. Like, I think it's just doing a lot of right things. I think I've been a fan of Kia, the brand, recently, like the past few years, just the stuff they're doing with their technology. We talked about the Niro I drove and the EV6. Like I've just been a fan of their vehicles recently. I think they're doing a lot of things right. So I think the EV9 is just another, step forward here.
Definitely.
The only thing I hope they, improve on is just their in-car software. Like it's still just I feel like it's kind of lagging behind the rest of the car because like the design is really modern. Like even the layout of everything I feel like is really modern. I think things are in the right place. It's just is like a little bit cluttered on the screen. That's like my only gripe, really. But,
Yeah, it definitely looks like, from what I've seen, the EV9 has a different like operating system, like a different UX.
Right.
So it looks cleaner than the EV6 that we drove a few months ago.
Right.
I'm really just hoping that they allow you to save settings so you don't have to reset your regen settings every time you get in and out of the vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely looks like they're implementing some type of new software, which is really good. I think Kia's taking a lot of that feedback from these previous vehicles and improving it.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, that's one thing that I've always loved about Kias and Hyundais is that like it seems like every single generation of a new vehicle, it's a step above from what like their previous cars were.
Right.
So I'm pretty excited about it.
Definitely.
I do note that they announced some battery options today at the New York Auto Show.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be two battery sizes. One is a 76.1 kilowatt hour battery, and then there's a 99.6 kilowatt hour battery. I'm just going to round it down to 99. So it's not 100, it's around 99.5 kilowatt hours. So obviously I'm assuming that the 336 miles that they mentioned a few weeks ago, that's probably the rear wheel drive with the bigger battery pack.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
So Yeah, but I'm excited about it. I love the whole digital nose, tiger nose with like the LED ambient lighting, and I love how the lights, like the ambient, or not ambient lighting, the DRLs, the accent lightings up front. I love how it runs down the headlight and into the grille. It's such a cool car.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. I'm just a big fan of where a lot of the newer car design is headed, I think. Most like new cars I see coming out now are like, oh, I really like the look of that. Like, I think we were in a weird spot with EVs for a while where it's like we had to try to make them eco-looking.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we moved past that.
I agree. And I give kudos to, these designers who are doing these, like, risky, designs. And it's paying off for some of them. Some of them I feel like you can tell when they really hold back versus some who push it further. Right. I mean, have you seen the new Hyundai Kona electric that they just unveiled today?
No, I didn't.
So, they unveiled it a few months ago, but it's like a totally different look, and it has pixel LED, like a single bar going across the entire hood, and it's really cool. Like, and that's where like I love that Hyundai and Kia are like taking these big risks in terms of designs. Because it looks fresh. The only downside with that is that you never know how long it will look fresh, but it's still a really cool design.
Right.
Yeah. I want that EV9, depending on how much the cost is.
Right, yeah. That's the big question. Yeah, I was talking to some people at the event, and it's like, I was telling Mariah, who we've had on the show before, that leads the Drive Electric Columbus efforts here. They have a Lightning, and I was telling them, like, I don't think I'm going to buy like a new Lightning anymore, because I was considering it for a while, but it's like they just raised prices on them again. Like, even the Pro models up starting at $60K now. I know. It's just so much for a car. It's like, I'm going to wait till some of those are on the used market and maybe try to pick one up, but it's like, it just doesn't make sense with some of these new cars. So
I still can't wrap my head around that. I know supply chains have changed since they first unveiled the vehicle, but I still don't understand how there's a $20,000 increase from when it was unveiled in 2021 till now. Like, I just can't wrap my head around that. But obviously, I don't know the backstory of why those prices increased. But like, I agree with you. It's too expensive.
Yeah,
and that's not just a Lightning. I mean, that's any vehicle above $40,000. Like, it's even $30,000 with interest rates. Things are not they're not cheap. Like,
ain't cheap anymore.
Nope. We live in a weird society.
Yeah. But so moving on to the biggest vehicle on our list, the Ram Rev, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. The Ram Revolution. I was trying to add a southern accent to that, but I held back.
But yeah, you probably know more about this than I do, but they've got a massive battery pack in this thing, as we've been alluding to the whole show. Yeah.
So I'll just describe this in 3 steps, essentially, because that's exactly how Dodge. Dodge is Ram or Ram.
Dodge Ram, yeah.
Stellantis. So Stellantis, Ram, these other brands. So Ram introduced, or they unveiled the 2025, which is so hard to believe that I'm saying that as a model year. The Ram Rev today at the New York Auto Show, and they're unveiling it with 3 different battery options. Well, technically 2. So the first one is 169 kilowatt hours, which is bigger than the Lightning extended range, the Rivian, as well as obviously the majority of electric vehicles on the market, just that base battery pack.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to get about 350 miles out of that base battery pack.
Okay.
Now, if you go up to the bigger battery pack, which is mind-blowingly huge, a 229 kilowatt hour battery pack, you get 500 miles of range. It just blows my mind that they are, like, I get it. They're really trying to tailor this vehicle around people who drive pickup trucks. They want a vehicle that can tow. They want a vehicle that can go long distances. I absolutely understand exactly why they're doing that. But that battery pack is huge. That's like 4 Chevy Bolts. Like, that battery could power 4 like small cars. Like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the last options, they're actually offering a range extender that they didn't announce like how far it will allow the vehicle to go, but it's clear that they're going to try to do well over 600 miles. So you'll get that bigger battery pack than a gas range extender to help you keep driving. So,
Lordy.
lots of options.
Wow. Yeah, that is. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, so I guess to premise my response, the the important thing to note when we're saying like battery sizes is that's generally in kilowatt hours. So kilowatt hours is a unit of energy. It's not a unit of weight. It's not a unit of volume. Like, it's a unit of energy, like how much energy is in the pack. So, theoretically, if you have a more energy dense battery pack, or you have, some breakthrough in battery technology, you could put a giant, battery energy wise into a smaller space, a lighter package, all that stuff. But we really haven't had like a huge breakthrough where it's like, this is significantly lighter, or this is significantly like using less resources or anything like that. So the reality is with these current vehicles is it's like we're packing, as you said, a ton of, resources, a ton of just kind of wasted material a lot of times into these gigantic batteries that unfortunately are going to sit there a lot of the time.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was a great response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other piece of this though, so like I don't want to completely like knock large batteries, because I think they do have like there's a big opportunity here with these batteries, and I wish like more vehicles kind of came ready to do it, is just vehicle to grid stuff.
Yeah.
So let's say, like school districts and like electric school buses have been pretty successful in this, but that's really the only like application where it's made a ton of sense with big batteries, is when these vehicles aren't being driven, like let's use them as either grid storage or, extra like grid capacity, any of this stuff. It's like there's a lot of opportunity in these rolling batteries that we can use as a grid asset in some way. Obviously a lot harder to predict with a consumer vehicle than like a school bus that is going to be parked during these certain hours compared to your personal vehicle. But I think there's still I think there's some smart ways to use those big batteries, I guess.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and the Ram Rev does offer certain features like that. I'm not sure. I believe it's vehicle to grid. It's not vehicle to load,
to home.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah,
okay.
I think V2X, if I remember. I have to read. I'll have to look at that article that I sent you earlier.
Yeah.
But it does have an onboard generator. I do know that, so
Okay.
it's very similar
That's nice.
to what the Lightning offers.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it does offer that ability to like power your house for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
But I mean, God, if a 229 kilowatt hour battery pack, like if the Lightning, I think the Lightning is rated for what, like 19 days.
Oh, I thought it was only a few days. I thought it was like.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking the Silverado, or whatever Chevy said.
You got a small house, you can run it for a long time. So
yeah, seriously, yeah, yeah. So I mean, either way, you're going to be powering your house for a few days, which could be useful.
Right.
But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Like if it's going to be sitting for an external, like especially if it's a fleet vehicle, that could be great for fleet implementation, where if there's just a large amount of cars just still sitting there while people are doing like administrative work or something like that.
Right.
That could be really beneficial.
Definitely.
But yeah, I just I don't know, like when I saw that article, I was excited because it's going to get more people into an electric vehicle. But the environmentalist in me is just like, man, that's a lot of material going into that battery pack, just that one battery pack.
Right.
And if they're going to sell say for example, 50,000 of them, that's a lot of minerals and material.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And we've seen, I don't think cars as a resource are going to change that much, at least in these initial phases of EVs. Cars are historically an underutilized resource. They sit there most of the time doing nothing. So just taking up space and, using resources. So it's, the more I've gotten into more kind of studying transportation and EVs and everything, it's the more I'm being pushed to do we just need to frickin' bike and train everywhere?
No, right.
But
yeah,
obviously, I keep telling myself though, America and the U.S. is a lot different than other parts of the world, where we have these huge long stretches between people that are still in our country. So we do need cars for a lot of things today, but I don't know. There's still better ways to do things, I guess.
Yeah. No, I agree. And just like EVs, the infrastructure needs to be there too. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we could have like an urban planner on the show one day and just like talk about that because I mean, like I know the show itself is mainly focused on like like electrification for transportation, but I think it would be cool to like, get like those different aspects of the discussion.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, let us know your thoughts on these new cars. I mean, with the New York Auto Show and more auto shows coming up throughout the summer, I'm sure we're going to see exciting things. So we want to hear from you guys.
Definitely. Yeah, let us know your thoughts, and we'll talk to you in the next episode.